Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Hoth, your Kings of the Storm Weekly number 10. The snow is a-blowing.
I like that Mega Man music you were playing there.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's not Mega Man music. It's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good. I believe that's no copyright sounds.
Yeah.
Could be Monster Cat. It's one of the two. They both make great stuff, and we use their music here for Kings of the Storm.
Such plugs. Very nice.
Plugs. I'm Solid Jake.
And I'm Kubi.
You can follow us on Twitter, and you can also follow Kings of the Storm at Kings of the Storm, or at Kubi's Kitty, our mascot here at Kubi's Castle.
Maybe if the cat is summoned, we will perhaps bring her onto camera. But until then, it's just not going to happen. Is she being lazy on the couch? Yes, she is.
Do some live tweeting. Someday we'll have a cat cam for you guys. Apologies for that. Now, first game, pretty quick game here between Wildfire and Backlash.
Yeah.
Backlash is going to drop down to the losers bracket, and Wildfire will be advancing to be facing Barrel Boys as our next round 2 game.
Hey, Jake, where can we find the bracket info?
KotS.challenge.com. It's KOTS.challenge.com. I would show you a bracket image if I was not a terrible human being and I made one. But that's not actually going to happen today, unfortunately. The bracket was weird shaped, and I said I am not up for that challenge.
It was weird shaped, not up for it.
14 teams. That's a weird bracket. It's a weird bracket.
It's a 16-man bracket with 2 buys.
Look, man.
It's too early for this.
Round
it's
2.
Too early for this.
Check your client. I see it's blinking at you.
It is blinking.
Round 2 is a best-of-3 series. Iacona
Being a funny guy.
being a funny guy here. Now, here on Planet Hoth, we like to talk about video games, and the video game that we talk about, of course, is Heroes of the Storm. Now, we've seen some really cool stuff over the past few weeks, just kind of changing the meta. Ooh, we've got a lobby invite, which means we're going to find out what map we're playing on. And
That's
Kubi, do you
exciting.
think we're going to see anything weird and unique out of either of these teams in this matchup?
What do you consider weird? I need your definition of weird first before I can answer that.
Out of the norm, like weird heroes like Sonya, Asmodan, Anubarak, like Gazlo. That stuff, they're not common, but we've seen teams start to dabble with them. Nope. He's saying
Maybe you'll see. Maybe we'll see some Hammer Rainer. That's a possibility.
yeah, it's still not common. It's still new.
I guess Rainer's
Rainers,
as Mac likes to call it. Of course, we had McIntyre on our show this previous Wednesday. That would be Town Hall Heroes every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you guys should check that out. It's a nice show about the meta and what's going on in terms of the competitive scene. We talk about everything and anything. It's going to be an interesting show next week, actually, because I've heard down the grapevine that we're having a patch. Is that true, Jake?
Yes, there's a new little dude, or three dudes at that fact, coming out into our game. That is the Lost Vikings, 3 heroes in 1. It's the first ever hero that has multiple control groups. If you've ever played StarCraft or even Dota 2 has control groups, you'll know that multiple heroes can be controlled via 1 to control one guy, 2 to control another guy, 3 to control another guy. That means you can soak all three lanes at once, and in theory, you could capture the Dragonite by yourself.
That's a very good point. What happens if you have 4? Do you get guy?
4? Oh, you hit 4? If you hit
You're
4,
like one's for this guy, 2 for this guy, 3. So
you get all 4. You get all 3 of them. Yeah.
Triple guy.
Yeah, that's the full combo.
Good times. Good times. All right.
Well,
What are we doing here? We were waiting on that Stormcraft.
Yeah, we're waiting.
There it is.
Oh yeah. They need to send it to me though, or you need to send it to me.
All right. I guess I could do that. Huh? All right.
Is that it? Because
Yeah. Can you read that number?
it's a good year.
That is a good year. I don't know anything about it though because I wasn't alive then.
It's still a good year.
Was it? Tell me a little bit more about that year.
Well, that's when someone was born and stuff. Now, getting Stormcraft up, I got nothing for you guys. It's very early. It's very early. Barrel Boys
1:30.
versus Wild.
Very early.
Hey,
Hey man.
don't judge.
All right.
I'm ready. Are the players ready?
They're asking us the very same question.
Is the stream ready?
They're not answering. Aren't they supposed to be yelling or something right now? It's like, hey.
Oh.
Such delay.
2-minute delay. I hope they're ready because it looks like Barrel Boys is ready, Wildfire is ready, and the draft is underway. And we're going to switch on over
Yes,
to
it is.
that screen. Garden of Terror is, in fact, the map.
Yeah, that's something we can actually talk about before they can even get into this. It's a bit of an odd first map to see.
Yeah, I would say so. It is.
Jake yawns profusely, reaches for the coffee. Yes, I would say it is. Profound analysis on Garden of Terror. Now, of course, I say that it is it's a bit of a strange map. I guess more often than not, you're going to see maps such as Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire. Those are your pretty standard picks. Garden of Terror, though, it is a map that tends to run pretty long, and I haven't really gotten a good feel as to why teams don't like it that much, except for the fact that it tends to go for a very long time. So if teams don't really want to try to play out for that super late game, we're talking like level 25 plus, that might be a reason. I mean, the mechanic is a little bit strange in terms of like how it can split, and at least in terms of capturing the seeds. The fights that happen with the Garden Terror can be a little bit strange too, but I would think teams would like this map a little bit more than, let's say, Blackheart's Haunted Mines. We actually see at least Mines picked more often than this map. Is that fair to say? No, it's about the same.
Yeah, I would actually say Garden is probably a little bit higher in terms of the pick rate. It depends on the team. Like, sometimes we'll see certain teams they have cheeky strategies for stuff on Mines. So Mines is more like, we have this very specific strat we're going for, and we're going to try to get a quick win out of it, kind of deal. But I'd say that Garden probably sees a little bit more play in general. But just taking a look at the draft, we see that Kerrigan has been picked up. But looking at the bans, well, the first ban was Tassadar, very similar to the last game Stitches. So it went Tass Stitches, different teams, same bans.
Yeah, that's true.
But the first pickup is going to end up being Kerrigan.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on the show this past Wednesday, and it was mentioned that teams need to start banning out Kerrigan against Barrel Boys.
They do.
Mac has a very good Kerrigan. Of course, we've seen it time and time again. Execute some pretty silly combos and stay alive for a disgusting amount of time. So they are going to pick up that Kerrigan almost immediately, and this game will probably see that value in effect. So pay attention to that, of course. And I like what ESV Wildfire.
Oh no! Yeah, you're right. That's the type of part.
That's not on us, guys. That's what they enter when they put the Stormcraft in. We just like to make fun of the teams when they they misspell names and such. It's all in good fun, of course. Anyway, I like what they've done here in terms of picking up that damage. They say, okay, you're gonna go Kerrigan. We're going to pick up the top 2 damage. We have Task banned out, so yeah, why not grab Vol and Tychus? That's a huge amount of DPS output in those fights.
Yeah, I mean, you pick up Big Blue and Little Red, and you got a lot of damage potential.
Big Blue and Little Red.
Yeah.
It's still too early, guys. Still too early. Okay, then we see the follow-up here is Nazebo, and they are still thinking about that next pick here. Who would you like to see, Sir Jake?
Well, we're going to see Uther. So before I could even say a word, we're going to see Uther.
Oh, I was going to say Uther.
No. Well, I'd say Arthas. Arthas is the logical pick. I mean, you put Arthas in this composition, and it's so solid. Like, it doesn't have a lot of, flaws at all, and your 5th pick doesn't even really matter all that much. You just need a little bit more damage. The Ravenous Spirit, of course, is great. You can never downplay the power of Arthas Kerrigan, and you throw Uther on top of that too, and that's equally as scary. Now, with the rise of double support being a thing, there is still the possibility that they say, look, we're actually going to grab Uther Malf or even Uther Brightwing, and just like give Arthas up and then just grab something like ETC or Murd for their final pick. We'll see what they want to do.
They're going to go Rhaegar Arthas, if they're allowed to.
Regarthas.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that before. Jake likes to just sort of mash words together.
That's my thing. I do it in my spare time.
Spare time is just a word masher. All right, so what is Wildfire going to grab here? I would say, I think it makes a lot of, if they're going to go for a bursty style comp, which I'm not going to say that they're what they've picked up already leans to that, but they could go for just a very damage heavy. I mean, they can just grab Arthas and then
I think they'll grab Hammer if they can.
They could do that
on Wildfire. Like, you have those 3 ranged damage dealers.
Yeah, you also, I mean, Zeratul still on the table too.
That's true.
For the lockdown. They have some options, but yeah, Hammer is a possibility as well. Muradin.
Okay.
That's probably just to try to make some semblance of control over what Kerrigan is doing. I'm thinking that I'm looking at, well, I just completely blanked on looking over at Nazebo. It's also good for that too, just deal with the Ravenous Spirit. Of course, it just takes that one stun to cancel the channel on the Ravenous Spirit. Murden has his Stormbolt.
It's like a tough call to make because it's like, all right, do we deny Arthas or do we pick up Murden? Now, Arthas, of course, doesn't have an interrupt. Murden does. And you called the Zeratul? Yeah, Murden, Zeratul. So makes perfect sense with the Nazebo there. And the Void Prison is going to be huge because with Void Prison, of course, you can set up big strafes, big, Rain of Vengeance. You can get the Odin in position and then transformed and just ready to unload on them. You can completely disengage with it. I mean, it's got so much power and utility.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a pretty good pickup there. I'm just thinking about what Barrel Boys is going to grab. I mean, we keep hyping up Arthas, so these teams just seem to keep skipping over him. He's still a good hero, guys. Trust me. And, I mean, Arthas still makes a lot of sense here, especially when you consider the pairing between Kerrigan and Arthas in terms of that roaming comp. And we've seen Barrel Boys run away with a ton of games just by having that really good rotation early on, getting those ganks and just finding themselves a level lead going into, level 10, etc., and just running away with it. And yeah, we do see that Arthas pick up there. And for their final grab, I mean, they've got tons of options. Rounding out their damage seems to make a lot of sense, too.
Yeah.
I mean, they can try to go for a deny and just pick up Brightwing, and that will give them a very sustainy style comp.
I want to see if they pick up Regarthus like you predicted, because Regarthus is a cool idea, especially when you have Kerrigan. If Kerrigan never dies, or Arthas never dies, my goodness, that's really good. And of course, you can build Rhaegar to be relatively damage heavy. Of course, you're not going to be getting Bloodlust with this kind of composition.
Yeah. I don't think Thrall makes too much sense. I think you're putting a little bit too much emphasis on the melee.
I think Hammer makes a lot more sense than Thrall. Even Jaina makes more sense than Thrall. I want to see something weird. I want to see Zagara, Asmodan, something out of the norm. But I don't think it's very likely here. I think Hammer is that's my vote.
I think it's Hammer, huh?
That's my vote.
Could be Raynor too.
Yeah, definitely could.
Going for the double healer. Malfurion.
They are doing it. Not Regarthus though.
So why
why
Malf?
Okay, well, Malf has the root.
Yeah.
This is Lockdown City. You have the Sun on Uther. You have Howling Blast with Arthas. The Root on Rhaegar and the Pull-In and Primal Grasp. The amount of zoning you can do, every single one of them has a form of lockdown between zombie walls and roots and stuff. There's nowhere to run or hide. You just get locked down and die.
I can't argue with that. Those are all very good points. And any type of lockdown that you can get for Nazebo, so they can get all that value out of that Ravenous Spirit. Sure, that's going to be... All of those things are pointing towards a really, really nice team fight for Barrel Boys.
Yeah.
However, if you put a lot of stock into this and Ravenous Spirit gets interrupted, the team just leaves or something to that effect, and then you're just left with a lot of heroes that have... Yeah, they have a lot of CC, but perhaps the damage output isn't there. Things could get a little dicey for you regardless, so... We'll have to see how that execution goes for their team fights. Now, on the Wildfire side of things, they do end up finalizing their picks with that Brightwing. Yep. So like we were mentioning before, I don't think we're going to see a quote-unquote Wombo-style Zeratul Void Prison execution. I think what we're going to see is he's going to try to pick off a couple targets to isolate them out of the team fight. So we're going to see a team fight start.
The
Void Prison's going to go down.
Prison, and
it's going to be something where we just pick off two members, isolate them in the Void Prison, try to kill somebody that's left over out of the Void Prison, and then we end the fight basically in a 4v5 type of situation.
Well, Kubi, I think the game is just about ready to roll here.
Indeed it is. The drafting is complete. Both teams are ready. They have started up. We are going into game number 1. This is now a 2 out of 3 between Wildfire and Barrel Boys.
Hopefully both of those teams are not suffering the conditions of Hoth right now. Having a nice, warm, cozy day. And we're going to be playing on Garden of Terror. Kubi
I think actually it is done snowing.
No, Hoth Life does
Hoth Life. Okay. Well, considering that we have actually 3.5 feet of snow sitting in my front yard right now,
more than that,
it's always going to be Hothland.
Yep.
Yeah. We're not. I'm not exaggerating at all. That might even be like an underestimate.
It is. I guarantee you.
There's so much snow in my front yard.
Garden of Terror. This is, again, like Kubi just said, a best of 3 series.
Yes.
Do I have the teams on the right side? Absolutely not.
Excellent. So while Jake is sorting out those production issues, I'll go ahead and introduce the teams for you guys. For Barrel Boys, on the blue side, we're going to have McIntyre playing Kerrigan. Blinks is going to be on Uther. Fan on Nazebo, Trum will be playing Malfurion, and Fury will be playing Arthas. And on the red side, Jake, if you want to just swap over to staring at their core, perhaps.
I'm good. I got this. War Greymon will be playing as Vala. We have the boy in blue, Bims, playing as Tychus. Iacona is going to be playing as Brightwing. Chef is going to be on Zeratul. And Pickles on Murden. Now, Chef, typically, traditionally, we've always seen him playing that support role, but here he is playing Vala, and now Zeratul. I mean, just showing the number of heroes, the diversity of his hero pool that he's comfortable with, and that's really cool. But look at this, the Barrel Boys, the boys of the Barrel.
So essentially, what they're doing here is you would think, just from like a intuitive perspective, why don't both teams reach the middle point at the same time? Why are they able to go onto the other side of the map before they even get there? What they're actually doing is creep blocking, and they're just sort of trying to get annoying with the pathing for the creeps so that they arrive a little bit late to the lane. As you can see, it's a little bit offset. This just pulls the fight a little bit closer to your towers so that you're just in a little bit better position to back up in case you see ganks, etc. So just a cool little thing that you can do in the beginning of the match while there's really nothing else going on.
I like this aggression we're seeing out of them. They know they have so much lockdown, and they're just constantly looking around for anyone that's overstepped their bounds. Of course, Zeratul, once he gets locked down once, he cannot blink away. That is just lights out, and that's something that they changed in the recent patch. So it's going to be very scary for every single member of Wildfire.
Yes, absolutely, and I just see that you have that nice talent screen up so we can try to take a look at some of these perhaps more interesting talents.
Nice juke there by Iacona, though, but Bims is going to get caught by this full combo. Actually, the Primal Grass pulling him out, but the Howling Blast goes out to secure that kill. Curse Fury almost losing his life, but the heal comes out just in time to keep him alive. McIntyre going to end up falling here. Fury actually has to run. This is a beautiful rotation coming out. The double heals not going to be enough to sustain this. Trummel will end up falling. The root there picking up Iacona and just going to allow them to back on up. Losing multiple members right before the seed spawn, not good.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice rotation there from Chef. He was able to apply quite a bit of pressure, counter pressure to their so they ended up losing Tychus, but they traded out for Malf and Kerrigan.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice situation there for Wildfire, of course. And like you said, they're going to be able to get a pretty good amount of pressure on the seeds. But I think Fan is going to end up falling here. There's no way he's going to be able to escape from Pickles and Bims here, applying that pressure. McIntyre still backing up, trying to take these seeds safely. Unless both players rotate up, he's going to have to leave. No, we see the backup from Trummel.
Yeah, he's got Trummel and Curse Fury coming down here. So Pickles does jump out of that with the Dwarf Toss, but that's going to be Death Coil, almost getting the kill. The shielding comes out out of Iacona there, just keeping him alive. A really nice phase shift in there. Well done by Wildfire.
That was some pretty fancy footwork there from the support. Of course, Iacona phase shifting and throwing that shield down. Very nice. Absolutely the only way he was going to live in that situation. As you can see, the gray health lead. He was going to die from that and Venom Poison.
I don't know if they saw the shimmer of Chef, but Chef just stopped moving the second the zombie wall was there. They wouldn't know he's there, but a big Primal Grass going on to Pickles. Pickles will fall here, but in the process, Malfurion has fallen as well. 1 for 1 at this point in the fight. McIntyre is locked in. He's just, oh my goodness, he trades out. Probably the best case scenario. The Root's not going to be able to get Chef there. The Howling Blast onto Bims. 3 for 2 so far. The stomp is going to hit Fury. Not good. Chef is looking for Fan in the back line. This is so back and forth.
Yeah, it really is. And that was cutting it very, very close for Chef there. And we do see that Iacona is going to be in a little bit of trouble. There is no stun available. I think perhaps his Hammer of Justice cooldown was just not there, and they were not able to interrupt that phase shift. He was able to get out of the situation. So that's going to leave the seeds pretty much in a dead even situation. So a lot of this is going to come down to which team opts to rotate up to this top terror here and capitalize. Of course, you get 60 seeds for capping a full large terror. That will absolutely give either of these teams enough seeds to capitalize and get their own Garden Terror to push with. So I would imagine it's going to be a big point of contention here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary point for both teams. A nice vault there out of War Greymon, knowing McIntyre was going to try to unload that combo, but the rotation is here. It's 4v3 in favor of the Barrel Boys. Bims dodges the Roost. The Venom goes down from Kerrigan, trying to blow him up. The Primal Grass goes down. Bims is going to back on up. First aid, not enough to save his life there. The Healing Ward is getting so much worth right now. Look at all those health bars. They blow it up, but man, they're looking healthy.
Yeah, I think this should trigger them. Absolutely, they should have the opportunity to go down and take this Garden Terror. It looks like Iacona's still trying to scout out the situation. He puts down that Pixie Dust on him to give him the speed boost to get out. He's going to get stunned here.
Oh, no, that's so hard to escape from these guys. Every single hero has a form of lockdown.
Yeah, and absolutely they're going to grab this Garden Terror. Now, of course, we do have level 7 for both teams, so we can talk a little bit about some of these talent choices that they've taken. We do see the first aid on Zeratul from Chef there. Of course, he used to play on Cloud9 Vortex, and we see a little bit of a team fight here. A really nice vault coming out of Greymon.
Yeah, that vault was on point, but Iacona is a little far forward from that phase shift, and he's taking a lot of damage. He's able to back on up out of here. I mean, every single member of both teams have taken so much damage. The double support will be a big factor here. Blinks is quite low, but here's the heal from Malfurion. There's the heal from Uther. McIntyre does end up falling, though.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice rotation just to sort of make the best of the situation that they were in. And Sheth is going in to apply a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, I mean, oh, the healing ward and the double support once again. Fury, I mean, I thought for sure he was going to die. Looking for that grenade, a nice dodge by both Trummel and Fury. And
this game is so close.
6 to 6, and the kills are 6 and 6.
Yeah.
Levels are dead even. Kubi, finally a break. Let's talk about those talents.
Not even a break. They got enough seeds to capitalize on taking this Terrier, so we're going to see a little bit of pressure. But yeah, we might have some time here. Talk about some of these talents. We do see a Loon's Grace from Malfurion, of course, because they have double support. They can afford to sacrifice a little bit in terms of those healing talents instead of getting the extended regrowth. We do have Cleanse for Uther, and I think everything else is looking pretty standard on the Barrel Boys side of things. I was trying to get to talk about the first aid we grabbed from Chef. He did play on Vortex previously, so that was where we actually saw first aid grab the most. I think it's like Rarjar and iDream used to pick up first aid on a pretty consistent basis. So
they really like the extra sustain, the extra survival.
Taking some of that philosophy on over to Wildfire here. Bims once again going for the full overkill style build. It doesn't end up getting that melting point at level 4, which can be really, really nice just for sieging structures. And we see McIntyre is going to work on this middle set of towers here, just trying to get that experience lead.
Well, we see this Plant Terror is getting a lot of work done already. Still has another 25 seconds and a big health bar remaining. Just going to try to siege up this fort. It's going to be tough to get, but with the entire team here pushing down on this door, they're going to do their best to knock down this fort, and it's already at half health.
Okay, so we do have the heroics up for both teams, and the one that's really jumping out at me, well, there's a couple, but the biggest one is Ultralisk. Now, like we had mentioned, we did have Mac on the show this past Wednesday. We got a chance to talk a little bit about Kerrigan and the choice of heroics that they grab, and he said specifically, at least for him, it feels like you're going to grab Maelstrom when you know that you can pretty much secure 3 people inside the AoE of Maelstrom to make sure that you stay alive. If it's a situation where they have a lot of ranged assassins or people that aren't going to be in the fight for very long, you may as well grab Ultralisk so that you can zone out the enemy team, right? If they have ranged people, you just throw the Ultralisk on them, force them to back up out of the fight. So that's exactly what he's going for here. He's probably going to just stick the Ultralisk on either Vala or Tychus just to try to get them to back up, or just soak up some of their DPS, trying to kill the Ultralisk. So that's an interesting pick. And then the other one is Reign of Vengeance, of course. Just it looks like another stun option, probably to either lock down Kerrigan a little bit or Nazebo if he's in range and you can hit the Ravenous Spirit.
Right. And we've seen a lot of power with that in the past for sure. I mean, that's the power of a hero like that. Having those two choices are very strong. Just in general, though, I mean, yeah, we're seeing Tranquility. Yeah, we're seeing Divine Storm. No surprise there. A lot of sustain, a lot of lockdown. Army of the Dead, and I mean, level 10, both teams. I mean, I wouldn't even give either team an advantage. I mean, it's really just going to come straight down to execution. Both drafts are really strong here.
Yeah, I'm loving how close this game is so far. So, of course, Wildfire has a pretty nice seed advantage going into this, and they did a pretty nice job also defending the Terra mid. They did end up losing that fort, but it could have been a lot worse, and they didn't actually sustain any kills during that. So they're in a good position to contest this bottom Terra, and there's probably going to be a fight here. You see Pickles poking forward just a little bit.
Yeah, I think this fight is really imminent. They're a little bit scared. They're rotating back to take care of these bruisers. And, I mean, I'm not sure if we're actually going to see a collapse here, but, I mean, Barrel Boys, they are getting in position. Shep spots him. The Moonfire goes down, followed by the stun, the chain combo, but he manages to get out before the roots grab him.
The cleanse was so good there.
Right there. The cleanse is just allowing him to get out. Good call. Now, McIntyre is making his way on over. If he can get the dive in, he gets pickled. Primal Grasp, but the Void Prison is going to stall that another root. This stun is here, and they're trying to lock that in. We see McIntyre uses Rewind to blow him up. There's the Ultralisk. The Ravenous Spirit is going to town. Iacona will end up falling to it. No, Pixie Dust just getting him out of range of it. So very close. The Ultra is getting slowed by the keep. And McIntyre dives on forward. Primal Grasp, but the Vault is there to get him out. Rewind has already been used. Only one player died in all of that chaos.
I know. it goes to show you how good these teams are. They're so strong with their spacing. They know exactly what they can get away with, and we see some really squishy heroes here, and they're playing them to their utmost potential. And the fact that we did only see 1 kill in a skirmish like that, where just about every heroic ended up being used, just a testament to these players' skills.
Well, I like this call here by Wildfire. They just go back, regroup, and make their way to this top terror to get some seeds. That's going to get a plant terror.
Are we going to get a terror for both?
Yes, we will. We will have a terror
okay,
for both
yeah, it was
going
to be pretty close. I think they only have maybe another 10 seeds on top of that. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see the strategy in terms of when either team decides to use. They're going to go up and try to pressure this. I mean, the seeds are gone, so there's really nothing to fight over at this point. But yeah, we're going to see Barrel Boys back up.
If they got lucky with a root, maybe they would have done something if they just threw that blind root out there. But yeah, they're just going to pick up their Giants here, and we see that the Soak's going down. Both teams 14. It is dead even right now.
And we see the teams that are really, I mean, not that there's anything else to do on the map, but teams are scrambling to get to those mercenary camps before either terror was taken out. When the terror was grabbed, actually that might have been a bit of a mistake on Wildfire's part. It looked like they wanted to grab the Giants, and then perhaps Sheth got into the terror a little bit too early. When you get into the terror, it doesn't matter which team, all the mercenary camps that are available to be capped on the map disappear during the duration of either their terror. So I think, like, if you start killing the camp though, you can still cap it. But all right, and we do have a little bit of pressure here coming out of Wildfire onto this mid fort.
Now, McIntyre actually delayed the cap of their terror intentionally. He kind of hit himself, waited till the terror was just about to approach, and met them here so that he has a longer duration. So he's got about 18 seconds on them. But this terror is falling so quickly.
Yeah,
they put the aggression on. They're just throwing down all those combos onto it and burning it down as fast as they can. And, I mean, McIntyre not only has a longer duration, but way more health available at this point.
Yeah, and the important thing to note about the terrors in War Greymon finds a little bit of situation that Envenom.
The Envenom might be enough, but the heals from Brightwing, I mean, those heals just constantly coming out of Brightwing, keeping him alive. Very clutch. And we do see that we did have Zeratul end up falling. And, well, this plant terror now has a lot of work it can do here. It's fallen quick, but it's also going to get so much turns just for these towers alone.
Yeah, you know, it's usually a pretty good idea to throw Zeratul in the terror, but in the situation where you have Terror v Terror, you can throw, like, you know he's going to die within a couple of more hits, and we do see that really nice Howling Blast going down. Pickle's going to be kind of a bit of a situation. This that root.
You pair the curse out of the terror with all of the different lockdowns available. Oh, but that's a huge Rain of Vengeance. They turn around with the Primal Grasp Wheel to try to negate the damage, and the Ravenous Spirit does a good job picking off Vala there. They almost pick up Pickles, but man, he's able to back up with that Dwarf Toss. The keep ends up falling here, but Bims, if he gets pulled in at all, I mean, he's going to lose his life, but oh my goodness. McIntyre, he's terrifying to fight against.
Yeah, he just goes in, and this might be a situation where he ends up falling. He needs to get into that Void Prison. No, he doesn't get a chance.
Yeah, the Emerald Wind was on point, doing so much work. The roots going down, locking that Odin in. I mean, this is like watching StarCraft 2 late game versus Thor right now. Who wins that matchup? Typically, the Thor does. And Thors can actually...
Thors are a lot more expensive, though, aren't they? Than an Ultralisk?
I think so, but they can be repaired by ACVs. Drop those mules.
Drop those mules. Someday we'll have the mules repairing Odins in this game, but until then, you just got to work with what you have. So, yeah, a lot to talk about that last fight, geez. I liked what Wildfire did in that situation where they had that narrow passageway between the wall and the keep. They sort of threw Murd a little bit forward, enticing Barrel Boys to move forward, and that lined up for a beautiful Rain of Vengeance. And we saw, I think, hitting like 3 members of Barrel Boys, and they were almost able to capitalize on that. Ravenous Spirit was held until that point, though. We saw the Ravenous Spirit going out, and it got a lot of work done in that fight as well. So we did end up seeing a slight bit of an advantage for Barrel Boys there. They did end up capping that keep. So I would say just from that standpoint, structure-wise, they're doing really nicely. Actually, quite a bit further ahead than I thought. 2 forts and a keep. So from that perspective, they're doing good.
Yeah, they haven't lost a fort yet, really. I mean, when you consider this is Garden of Terror and how much power is provided by the Terrors, they're up 2-1. On the terror count. Now, there is going to be a second terror picked up here when Wildfire blows up this guy. That will give them more than enough seeds for their second terror of the game, but it looks like we're actually going to have a terror. Actually, no, I think it's going to be just short.
No, they are going to be a little bit short here, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, just barely.
4 seeds, yeah, and there's nothing else available. Okay, so this is absolutely a very, very nice opportunity for Wildfire to sort of catch up in this structure situation. Are they? They're going for a trade. Okay, so they see that a good chunk of Wildfire is up top, and they say, okay, you want to try and sneakily kill one of our forts up top? We are just going to 5-man rush bottom. And this is going to absolutely force Wildfire back here. and there might be a bit of a fight brewing here.
We saw that Max Hearth come out of Wildfire. They're rotating to defend, and this is just going to prompt a backup here.
Okay, so this is good. They have a Terror in the situation where Barrel Boys does not. This is their opportunity to catch up in structure damage. Okay, they need to really make the most of this Terror, because I think the last 2 that they've summoned so far, they got blown up pretty quick. Are they only, they've only summoned 1, I think.
They've summoned, it's been 2 on the side of Barrel Boys, and this is the second Terra here.
Okay, yeah.
For Wildfire.
So their last one, just because of the timing in which they summoned, I didn't even get really a chance to talk about timings of summons. We touched on it just a little bit, but that's actually a really aggressive overgrowth there.
Yeah, throwing the overgrowth into the middle there, I mean, you want to put it in a position where you know it's going to get, where it's hard to reach, really.
Yeah.
So we can get a lot of value. Man, the Terra is so large that the Primal Grasp actually managed clipping him there. That really, really stinks to take all that damage when you thought you were juking properly. Such a large body. Now we see a lot of damage going down to this bottom fort. Do they finally get a fort pick up? The Primal Grasp, again, being a big problem with these big roots. I mean, we can see the enduring growth there. Here for Malfurion is doing a lot of work. Ultralisk has been summoned. Curse Fury is very low. There goes another overgrowth here. And I don't even know if they're going to get it.
They really need to get this fort. I mean, even then, it's still not that great of a plant turret for them. They needed to do a little bit more. Nice cleanse there coming for on Chef there.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, they're setting those roots up for when the Terror is going to explode to like have these guaranteed, you know, just annihilations of whoever's underneath. And man, McIntyre looking for that Primal Grasp with a nice vault again out of Wargreymon Mountain here.
Yeah, we see the Barrel Boys is chasing pretty hard. They wanted to pick up at least 1 more kill in that situation, but no kills for either team there.
No, great
these
defense.
teams are very evenly matched. They know their limits with their heroes, and they're making that show in such a small kill game. What are we at? 16 here in 60 minutes in the game. That's a pretty low kill count, I would say.
1 kill per minute, that's very low. We've definitely seen lower, that's for sure. But considering how much team fighting's been done.
Oh!
Okay, this Fort Prison
setup?
is what they need. The Emerald Wind going down to disrupt, but they haven't actually picked up a kill yet. McIntyre will fall. A nice poly rain of vengeance there. Wargreymon vaulting on forward, trying to dodge, but the Ravenous Spirit is going to catch them from the behind. Bims needs to throw that grenade. There it is. He's going to knock Fan out of that. Can he pick up the kill here? And he's going to be able to do that, but he's now separated from the rest of his team. He has a full health bar. Blinks is the next target for them here. Can't they lock him down? Chef is looking for the blink in. There it is, and just one more dash/grenade.
They're going to get Fury too.
Yeah, he overstayed his welcome, and
especially when you consider the slow that's on Overkill that he grabbed at level 13 for Tychus there. There's absolutely no way that he can escape the situation. He can stall for a while and try to be annoying, try to maybe allow for a situation where the rest of the team isn't completely dead, but that is an ace. With the exception of Vala dying, of course, but that's a really, really good position for Wildfire, and this is what they needed to do to come back into this game. They basically set up an incredibly nice Void Prison. I thought the positioning that Vala was in at the start of the fight, where she basically dashed into the territory of Barrel Boys to dodge Arthas, and he ended up just turning around and chasing her. That looked really bad, so I didn't think the fight was going to go so well in Wildfire's favor, but they did a good job interrupting. They're having a spirit within a reasonable amount of time. Kerrigan got blown up really fast, so they picked the right targets, got rid of them as fast as possible, and it worked wonders for them.
I mean, we're talking about the power of Void Prison, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
It had a very nice setup, and then the Emerald Wind pushed them into the wall. That
Really
kept them like under control for a really long time, too, while just giving a lot of time for Tychus and Vala to get their work done.
And now we're looking at level 20 being picked up here by Wildfire. They actually took the level lead for the first time in the game, and what a better time to do it than level 20.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing all these talents picked up here while we have the Unstoppable Force, we have the Bolt of the Storm, the Continuous Winds, and 2 more bolts.
Yeah, so you see a lot of Bolt of the Storm picked up, especially on some of the squishier heroes in the game. And the amount of mobility that it provides on such a low cooldown, it's invaluable. That's why we're going to see a lot of... I mean, if Kerrigan grabs it, wouldn't surprise me at all, because, well, the upgrade for Ultralisk is nice. I think that the mobility you get out of Bolt of the Storm is good. So, I mean, it's just too good, because there are a lot of situations where you can overextend and then bolt back. The range on it is pretty nice.
Rock'em Sock'em Terror is here live and Planet Hoth, and they are just going on in Pickles and Fury. They want to fight each other. Now, which Terror will prevail here? The timers are just about the same. 10 seconds longer on the red Terror available.
Yeah.
But again, if we look at the previous Terror fights, the amount of lockdown, the roots, the primal grafts and stuff, they would use that to just blow up that Terror. They focus it down. That's their one and only concern. And here it goes again. They're just unleashing these combos, backing up, and then just doing a ton of damage.
I would say that Barrel Boys pretty solidly every time there's been a Terror situation. where they're either fighting against the Terror or whether it's Terror v Terror, they've always come out on top. They just seem to have the better team in terms of applying that pot shot damage to the Terror, getting rid of it faster than the other team can. And here we see it once again. Pickles is getting focused.
Yeah, and it's getting blown up real quick. And now there's a little bit of aggression onto Iacona out of the enemy team's Terror. Fury was looking at Iacona because he got hit by the Queen's Curse, I believe it's called. And he manages to back up. But man, they need to finally pick up this middle fort. They're, at the very least, though, they're stalling out so much time of the enemy's Terror. Even though he's very low, I mean, the Terror is only have 20 seconds remaining.
And they decided to put Muradin in just for that extra sustain. He's got a much higher health pool, so even if they decide to channel those stuns right after he gets out, he has a higher chance of surviving than Zeratul does. I think it's a smart rotation for them. Yeah, Barrel Boys is just desperately waiting. That's why we want to see them getting too aggressive for this fight here. They really want that level 20. And we can actually see the team splitting up a little bit. Some members have rotated bottom, I think, just to pick up a bit of experience, push that wave a bit forward. They're so close.
And Wildfire is looking for them. They know they're in this area. They smell it, and they're not going to find anyone as they have backed up. Picking up these Giants here with the Bribe Stacks out of Brightwing, and they're going to grab the Bruisers as well. We see that in the top lane, these Giants are going to get picked up, and that's going to hit level 20 here.
There we go. So what do we see? We see the upgraded range on Divine Storm. That's going to make it a Divine Hurricane, of course, and that's also a 20-second reduction in cooldown as well. That's very nice. So we do see that Bolt of the Storm on Malfurion and Kerrigan for the extra mobility. Legion of Northrend for Arthas. It gives them additional ghouls. They last longer. So just more sustained in those team fights. And then on Fan, I imagine we're going to see Annihilating Spirit, but he could also grab Bolt as well, just depending on how he's feeling things are going in those team fights, whether he needs the extra mobility or not.
Barrel Boys thinks that something cheeky's happening. They think they're getting backdoored, and that's why all 5 rotated back. They can also clean up all these mercenary camps, but really this was a precautionary play.
Yep.
In the meantime, the same thing was happening out of Wildfire. They said, okay, we haven't seen them in a while. Are they backdooring? Let's go make sure that we're at our base here.
It's funny. They end up hearthing all the way back, and now they're making a huge march across the map to an aggressive play on their Siege Giants there, and I don't think that Wildfire's going to be able to get there in time.
No way. And 10 seconds until night falls here, so we'll likely see a split on the seeds, top and bottom here for both teams. And
still no pickup on the level 20 for Nazebo. I've been keeping an eye on that. He hasn't grabbed anything yet. Perhaps he's forgotten about it. I'm not sure
I think
what the case is. There's really no reason to hide this, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, some players just have their reasonings for it, really. At this point, I really don't think it's something he's forgotten about. But we'll find out once he picks that. Maybe it is going to be something cheeky.
Yeah, so that's pretty good prediction there. Both teams are going to be splitting these seeds. That will spell a terror for both teams once again, so we'll have to see if Wildfire can sort of adjust their strategy in terms of how they approach the Terror v Terror fight. Like we were saying before, it seems as though Barrel Boys really does have the leg up on that in terms of chipping away at the enemy Terror before it can get too much done. And I mean, they up until this point right here, they managed to keep that middle fort alive, even while the Planet Terror was aggressing on it as well. So, so far on the Garden Terror side of things, I'd say that Barrel Boys is playing to the map a little bit better, but in terms of team fights, it's been all Wildfire. Straight on, head-on-head team fights. They've been really
bringing it back. They're really bringing it back. And
they're ahead.
I mean, they're ahead in levels, but
structure-wise, yeah,
they have the
they're
one
slowly
keep down.
getting there. Yeah.
But if this Terror fight goes in favor of Barrel Boys, though, I mean, this could be bad because we've seen them having the better ability to blow up that Terror very quickly. Chef is looking for that Void Prison. He's just sitting there cautiously waiting. There's no way for him to be revealed unless an AoE ability somehow hits him. And there he goes on to Fan, just kind of unloading some damage, and the heal is going to go on to Fan right away.
Yep.
We see that the Annihilating Spirit was in fact
he grabbed it just before they started marching up this lane. So it's probably something that he was trying to save. Didn't want to show that he was going for that. Not like the most impactful upgrade to a heroic in terms of like how it's going to affect the team fight, but hey, anything that you can keep from your opponent,
right?
It's always good.
If you say, okay, we have to like make them keep checking the tab page to see which heroic I pick, we have to make them continuously thinking about that. Maybe that's just all it is.
Sure,
like just one little thing. Now Wargreymon is going to be fighting Curse Fury here. Now their Terror is actually falling very quickly. Fury got very aggressive with that, so Pickles actually, for the first time in the Rock'em Sock'em battles, has the bigger health bar.
Yeah, they've been actually swapping up a little bit who they've been throwing in. I prefer the Muradin, of course. For reasons that we stated earlier, but they're doing a much better job about whittling away against Barrel Boys against their garden tower here. And yeah, I mean, they have a lot of stuff at their disposal, especially the slow on the overkill at level 13, opting to not go for Relentless, which is what the normal pick is. It's pretty cool to see someone going for a full overkill build. It's the Tychus variation in terms of talents that are chosen. Haven't seen too much differing in that lately, but
all right, the terror has dissipated. Chef is all by himself. McIntyre gonna end up finding him here.
Pick.
He should have bolted the storm. There it goes. Right when we'll face shift in. The rewind goes off. The Void Prism, though, keeping him alive. Now, Iacona walked into that Void Prism. McIntyre is gonna get hit by the Rain of Vengeance. No, just barely dodges it here. This is not good. Both Void Prism and Rain of Vengeance have been used. The Ultralisk is out for the side of Barrel Boys, but honestly, they have to back up.
I like this disengage here, and they should have Iacona in the back just to make sure to throw that Emerald Wind down when it's really going to be important. Pickles could die here.
Yeah, and the nice big root coming out trying to pick up something. They don't find that all the members here are very healthy, but I mean, looking at the heroics, just Emerald Wind and Odin available on the side of Wildfire when only Ultralisk has been used for Barrel Boys.
Yeah, so I think this is a situation where Wildfire needs to be careful. They really can't afford to take any team fights at this point just because of the heroic situation. Only Ultralisk has been used for Kerrigan, and notice she didn't actually go battle momentum. I was going to say maybe that would be up quite a bit sooner than you would think. But yeah, absolutely, it's well in favor of Barrel Boys here to take a fight. Surprised we're not actually seeing them get a little bit more aggressive, trying to find where Wildfire is and try to force that fight, because they know that they can. Yeah, you're hovering over that bottom keep. I think that's a smart idea. Go down there, put some pressure on. That keep's either going to be free because they don't want to pick a fight, or they're going to grab a fight that's at their favor because of the
they got to worry
situation.
about these Giants at the very least. These
that's
Giants
true.
will be. I mean, that's enough of a threat where they can rotate up. They were looking for a cheeky play, and they're going to clean up this top portion. And we're actually seeing the full rotation. So these bruisers here for Wildfire in the top lane, but Wildfire has rotated to the bottom to clean up these. Both teams just kind of walked by each other. Really.
They did. Ships passing in the night, as they would say, and those Giants were able to clean up that bottom keep. That is going to spell more catapults pushing onto that core from the bottom lane and middle lane. Just that one keep surviving in the top lane, and at this point, Wildfire has not been able to secure themselves any keeps on the Barrel Boys side of things.
And it's going to just be Terror v Terror once again, and it's always been pretty static, slightly in the favor of Barrel Boys each and every time. And as they lose as they've already lost 2 keeps, I mean, it's even though they're down a level, it's still very much in the favor of the Barrel Boys.
Yes, for sure. I mean, anytime that they have a Terror available, it's so much scarier. For the Wildfire side of things, just because if we lose 2 members, if a 2 for nothing happens, we lose the game. Yeah. With the Terror, the damage output that the Terror has, it's quite a bit more threatening.
Terrors respond at look at the timers. They're like identical. They're off by like maybe 2 milliseconds. But that's not something we really see very often. Now, Pickles is going to be finding Fury here in the front line. A nice curse there. Going down the Queen's Curse, zoning people out. Both sides, big root as well onto Pickles. Pickles has already lost about 10% of his health pool.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a defensive posture here from Wildfire. It's just too risky for them to push too far across the map, and if they do that, that sort of opens up the opportunity for Barrel Boys to just run in and dive on the core and kill it. So they're going to have to play on their side of the map and just try to whittle down the plant terror as much as possible. But I mean, look at the situation.
They've done no damage to it at
Wildfire's terror is already down to half HP, and like he said, Fury's terror has no damage taken. Look at this; he's still even pretty nicely healed up, even after that full overkill went on him.
It's just been Pickles getting beat on and doing nothing in return, it seems so far here. Just the lockdown available for Barrel Boys is such a constant threat. They're staying spread out, making sure they don't get hit by a big Void Prism. They're being very, very aware that that is the one thing that can lose them, this aggression.
Yeah, and there's also a set of Giants pushing top that's going to quickly reach the keep. That's going to draw a little bit of attention away from Wildfire if they choose to go up and defend that. We do see that he's probably going to walk up and throw an overgrowth onto it. Yep, the Terror is. Smart play there, just a little bit of a diversion, but that's enough time for Barrel Boys here to start poking away at that keep. We can see the shields are starting to go down. We do see that Void Prism.
Yeah, there's the VP. There's the Rain of Vengeance here, hitting nothing. The Emerald Wind also not really doing a whole lot. It's zoning McIntyre into the backline. Can they pick up a kill on him? The Bolt out here from McIntyre, getting him out of a bad situation, but he's going to live anyways. But during all of that, Vala fell as well. Fan will lose his life here. And, in the backline, Bims is so very low under that Odin. No, he actually has a big health bar available. Pickles falls out of the Odin, but meanwhile, Fury and Ultralisk
doing work.
It's going to burrow on down into the ground, a big Divine Storm, and that's actually going to be game. Wow.
I saw Fury walking over to the core and was like, why is he ignoring the rest of this team fight, and I didn't see that they actually had a couple catapults pushing from mid lane there that was doing a ton of damage to the core. I said, okay, now's the time to go. If they're going to get distracted with this team fight, this is a great opportunity for us to just win the game. That's exactly what they did.
That was a game, Kubi.
That was a really good game, actually. I was quite happy. And 29 minutes, I told you guys, you didn't believe me.
Cursed Hollow.
They tend to...
Not Cursed Hollow.
Garden of Terror.
Garden of Hollow.
They they do tend to run a little bit longer than the average length of most other maps, so no surprise there. And it went sort of how we predicted. But yeah, that was a really, really good game. I liked, other than that last fight, I thought that Wildfire was doing quite a bit of a good job engaging those team fights. Other than the terror fights, their actual just raw 5v5 team fights were good.
5v5 team fights, they always won. But yeah. I think Barrel Boys realized that, and they stopped fighting unless they had a Garden Terror. And whenever they had a Garden Terror, they just played really cautiously, really methodical, just Primal Grasp, and then the Root from Mouth to just deal damage to the Terror, back up. And they would just continuously do that combo, whittle away at the Terror, and then once they had a nice healthy Terror waiting on their side, push on in with it, and they took out that first keep. They took out another keep.
It's a good adjustment. I think that's pretty smart on the Barrel Boy side of thing, and probably what gave them the slight edge to take that victory. Like I said, guys, super, super close game. One for the record books. One for the record books.
Well, that was game one, and this is a best of 3 series. So that means we're going to be getting ready for game 2.
And we'll go to a quick break, and we'll come back in just a few, guys. Stick around.